Hey Nerdgenic Nation, and welcome to History Of. I'm your host and resident superhero nerd, Aaron Waller, and this is the series where we do a deep dive into various comic book characters, both heroes and villains, and give a little bit more insight as to who they are and why they do what they do. In today's video, we're talking about a Marvel villain that was originally set to rival the Hulk and did so pretty well, but now it's getting a sudden resurgence in the MCU, and that's the Abomination. Abomination was created by Stan Lee and Gil Kane and first appeared in Tales to Astonish number 90 in 1967. Born Emil Blonsky in Croatia, he would grow up to become a KGB agent who infiltrated an Air Force base in New Mexico where Dr. Bruce Banner was attempting to kill the Hulk through overexposure of gamma rays. Blonsky would then enter the machine and become a hideous lizard-like creature which triggers Banner to turn into the Hulk and end up fighting him. Hulk does lose their first battle, but Abomination is transported off-world and to the side of the Stranger during their rematch. The Abomination would reappear though when summoned by a coven of witches to briefly battle the Silver Surfer, and even ask Thor to aid him in escaping the Stranger's laboratory world. Thor does end up freeing Abomination and other captives, but upon discovering that they're all evil, uses Mjolnir to time travel several hours into the past to undo his mistake. Sometime later, when the Hulk is defeated by the alien Xeron the Starslayer and brought aboard a space vessel, the Abomination is revealed to be the first mate of the alien crew. And when the captain of the vessel directs Xeron and the crew to battle a creature in space, the Hulk and the Abomination are thrown overboard and battle until the pair are drawn into Earth's orbit and separated. It's then revealed in a flashback that the Abomination entered into a coma upon impacting with Earth and has been buried for 2 years. He's awoken from his coma by an off-course missile fired by the Hulkbuster base and ends up joining forces with General Ross to defeat the Hulk, but is battered into submission by an angered Hulk. The Abomination would later reappear and team up with the Rhino, and the pair activate a gamma bomb at the Hulkbuster base in an attempt to destroy the Hulk. The bomb is thankfully able to be deactivated, and the Hulk tricks the villains during combat, forcing them to collide into one another and knock each other unconscious. Once again comatose, Abomination is eventually found by General Ross's soldiers and has a miniature bomb implanted in his skull, being told to fight and defeat the Hulk or be killed. Very Amanda Waller Suicide Squad of him. When MODOK invades the Hulkbuster base, he intends to use the Abomination against his superiors at AIM, while Ross wants to use him to destroy the Hulk. The Abomination, however, has become afraid of the Hulk as a result of their past battles and has to be mentally forced by MODOK to even fight the Hulk. Abomination ends up being able to fight back and refuses to fight the Hulk, but is disintegrated by MODOK for his refusal. Later during Secret Wars 2, the Abomination is restored by the Demon Lord Mephisto, who directs him and other villains against the cosmic entity the Beyonder as members of the Legion Accursed. He would then temporarily team up with villains Tatiana and Gargantua and finds and stalks his former wife, Nadia. He would end up capturing her and taking her to the New York City sewers and reveal his true identity. But after a brief skirmish, the Hulk persuades the Abomination to free his wife, and also during this time he's captured by the Robot Sentinels and freed by the X-Men. After befriending a woman who finds her way into the sewers, the Abomination battles Namor the Submariner during an attempt to save his kidnapped former wife. When Betty Ross dies in the self-titled comic Hulk, Bruce Banner mistakenly thinks her proximity to the Hulk has induced a fatal case of radiation poisoning. Using a gamma device, General Ross tracks down what he believes to be the Hulk in a destroyed town, where the Abomination reveals that he was the true culprit, as Blonsky's transformation into the Abomination apparently alienates him from his former wife Nadia, driving his hatred for Bruce Banner. Blonsky would then decide to deprive Bruce Banner of Betty in return, secretly poisoning her with his radioactive blood. After hearing of the Abomination's admission, Banner turns into the Hulk and immediately defeats Abomination in combat. Eventually, Abomination would return and have a humorous encounter with the demigod Hercules, in which the Abomination is chosen as an adversary for the hero while he completes the modern version of the 12 Labors of Hercules. The Abomination is pardoned and then employed by the US government as a hitman against hostile foreign powers. He also appears as a conflicted opponent for the heroine She-Hulk, keep that in mind for later. During World War Hulk, Abomination has a subtle but very significant role of being the source of gamma-irradiated DNA, which allows the creation of an anti-Hulk response team. He would then reappear and encounter a new foe, the Red Hulk, which is later revealed to be a gamma-powered alter ego of General Ross. Red Hulk would then go on to kill the Abomination as an act of revenge for his deliberate gamma poisoning and being the reason for his daughter's death. And despite being dead, he would reappear in the underworld during both the Dark Reign and Chaos War storylines. Abomination would go on to live on in the real world, however, as tissue samples would be used by the US Hulk operations to graft to the corpse of Rick Jones that revives him as an Abomination A-bomb-like creature, to which he would eventually join the Thunderbolts. Now, Abomination has been in more than just comics, as he's been in video games such as various Hulk tie-in games, Marvel Superhero Squad, and LEGO Avengers games, and even most recently with Marvel's Avengers. And he's also appeared appeared in animation in the Incredible Hulk animated show and the animated feature Iron Man and Hulk Heroes United. But he's probably most well recognized from the MCU, where he's been played by Tim Roth since 2008's The Incredible Hulk, made a brief appearance in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, as well as will be appearing in both human and Abomination form in the upcoming Marvel Disney Plus series She-Hulk. Now, in terms of powers and abilities, Abomination is similar to Hulk in terms of strength, speed, stamina, healing ability, and durability. In contrast with the Hulk, however, he retains his intellect after transforming and cannot change back into his human form. But unlike Hulk, his strength does not increase or decrease in proportion with his level of rage, which results that the Hulk is being able to gain an advantage over the Abomination despite supposedly being twice as strong. And now for my favorite segment here on History of, the recommended reading section, where I give you a list of comics where you can go and learn even more about Abomination and even better, see him in action. First up, we have Tales to Astonish number 90 and 91, which is the first appearance and arc of Abomination, and as I like to say, is always a great place to start. Now, there are a ton of other Hulk and Abomination fights through the years, but it's not until Bruce Jones' run in Hulk in 2002 that things really started to pick up again. So if you want a more interesting story involving Abomination, I would recommend that. But one of the most riveting stories comes with Incredible Hulk number 466 to 474. This is the death of Betty Ross, and the eventual reveal that Abomination had killed her is a lot more dramatic in the storyline, but that's pretty much the gist of it, but it's definitely worth a read. Then we have Hulk Volume 2 number 23, which would come out in 2008, and this is where the Abomination would be killed by the Red Hulk. It's the introduction of the Red Hulk, but it's also a really cool fight, and I still think it's definitely worth reading. And finally, we have Hulk Volume 3, which is a very divisive run of comics for fans, but features a lot of Abomination throughout the run, so I'd highly recommend checking it out. So those are some of the major things you need to know about Abomination. Was there anything in this video you may not have known otherwise? Let me know down in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, be sure to leave me any suggestions to any other characters you would like to see on this series. Your suggestion just might become next week's video. But also while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell notification. That way you don't miss out on any videos from me or the rest of the Nerdgenic team. And also be sure to follow us across all social media platforms at Nerdgenic. That way you don't miss out on any special news, announcements, or articles at nerdgenic.com. But in the meantime, if you want more video content from us, be sure to check out these videos on screen, like my History of playlist, which grows every single week. Or if you want some more DC content, head over to this playlist right over here. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it, and we hope to see you in the next video.